Teddy Bear Adventure, Episode 1, Teddy's Awakening. The storm raged outside as rain hammered against the windows and thunder shook the night. Inside her cozy room, little Emma clutched her beloved teddy bear tightly, whispering, "Teddy, I know you'll protect me, right?" Before finally drifting off to sleep. Outside, a mysterious green glow emerged from the nearby forest. The light cut through the storm, moving with purpose. Suddenly, it seeped through the window and enveloped Teddy, and for the first time, something deep within the plush bear stirred. Teddy's button eyes flickered faintly green as consciousness flooded into its mind. It sat upright, wobbling as it adjusted to its new awareness. "Whoa! Am I alive? Wait, did I just talk?" Teddy's stitched mouth curled into a cheeky grin. "Huh, not bad for a stuffed toy." A soft glow filled the room as a tree-like spirit formed in the air, its voice calm but urgent. "Teddy, I am the spirit of the eternal tree. Our world is in grave danger. The light fruits, the source of our power, have been stolen by the fallen ones. Without them, the eternal tree is dying, and the balance of magic is breaking." Teddy scratched its plushy head, its button eyes narrowing mischievously. "Right, and let me guess, you're asking me to save the day?" "Not to brag, but I'm better at cuddling than combat." The spirit ignored the sarcasm, continuing, "Within you lies a fragment of the eternal tree's magic. I chose you to be its bearer, hidden until this moment of greatest need. You have the power to summon weapons from your magic core, tools to fight and protect." "Hold on," Teddy interrupted. "Did you just say weapons? Like I can summon cool stuff?" "Okay, now you've got my attention." The spirit nodded. "Indeed, you can create tools and weapons to overcome any challenge, but use them wisely, for they will draw on your magic, which is not infinite." With a flick of its paw, Teddy raised its hand. A faint green glow began to swirl, and suddenly a shimmering sword appeared in its plush grip. Teddy swung it clumsily, nearly toppling over. "All right, I'm into this, but can I get something cooler? Maybe a bow?" As if responding to its thoughts, the sword dissolved into light and reshaped itself into a glowing magical bow. Teddy beamed. "Now we're talking. Archery just feels right, you know?" The spirit's voice grew softer. "You will need these skills in the journey ahead. The first stolen light fruit lies deep within the enchanted forest. Go, Teddy. The fate of magic and Emma rests in your hands." Teddy sighed dramatically. Saving the world and being back in time for cuddles? No pressure. Teddy stepped through a glowing portal that appeared at the window. The plush bear landed in the enchanted forest, where the air shimmered with floating particles and trees hummed faintly with magic. Yet cracks in the ground and scorched earth hinted at the chaos spreading through the land. "Wow," Teddy muttered. "This place is cooler and scarier than I imagined. All right, time to try out these new powers." It raised a paw, summoning a glowing shield. A shield. Solid choice for defense, it mused. The shield dissolved and Teddy conjured a hammer. "And this?" "This screams power." The hammer disappeared, replaced by a delicate throwing dagger. "Speed and precision. Not bad." Teddy grinned mischievously. "Who knew I'd be a one-bear army?" As Teddy ventured deeper into the forest, the light dimmed. Shadows twisted unnaturally, and an eerie growl echoed from the trees. A corrupted forest wolf lunged from the underbrush, its red eyes glowing with malice. "Of course there's a wolf. Why wouldn't there be?" Teddy quipped, quickly summoning its magical bow. "All right, Fluffy, let's see who's faster." An arrow of glowing energy flew from the bow, striking the wolf squarely in the chest. The wolf staggered but didn't fall, instead charging with renewed fury. "Okay, plan B." Teddy switched the bow for a hammer, slamming it into the ground. The resulting shockwave knocked the wolf off balance. While it struggled, Teddy conjured a shield, blocking its retaliatory swipe. With a flourish, Teddy summoned a dagger, tossing it with precision. The dagger emitted a burst of green light upon impact, cleansing the corruption from the wolf. Its red eyes softened to amber, and it let out a quiet whimper before retreating into the woods. "Not bad for a first fight," Teddy said, dusting off its plush paws. Who knew saving the world could be this fun? Teddy continued deeper into the forest until it stumbled upon a glowing stone tablet, etched with shifting runes. The symbols rearranged themselves into a map pointing toward the forest's darkest corner. Great, a treasure map. Classic hero stuff, Teddy muttered, studying the directions. Let's hope the next challenge doesn't involve another overgrown dog. Adjusting its red scarf, Teddy set off with renewed determination, the faint sound of distant growls reminding it that danger was never far away. The forest grew darker and eerier as Teddy pressed forward, gripping its magical bow tightly. Despite the looming threats, it couldn't help but crack a grin. This world doesn't know what it's in for. I'm a teddy bear with a mission and some really cool weapons. With that, Teddy disappeared into the shadows of the forest, ready to face whatever lay ahead. Episode 2, The First Light Fruit. Teddy followed the glowing map deeper into the enchanted forest. The trees around seemed to stretch taller, their roots twisting like claws. Faint whispers echoed through the air, sending shivers down Teddy's plushy body. All right, map, Teddy muttered, glancing at the glowing runes. Lead the way, but if you throw me into anything too dangerous, we're going to have words. The map's glow pulsed, directing Teddy toward a large clearing. In the center stood a massive tree with shimmering golden leaves, clearly the source of the first light fruit. Wow, Teddy said, whistling softly. That's gotta be it. But why does it feel like a trap? As Teddy stepped into the clearing, the ground trembled. A deep growl resonated through the forest as a massive, corrupted Trent emerged from the shadows. Its bark was cracked and blackened, and its eyes glowed an eerie red. Yup, definitely a trap, Teddy quipped, summoning a magical shield. Time to see what this fluffball can do. The Trent roared, slamming its massive arms into the ground. Vines erupted from the earth, reaching to ensnare Teddy. With a quick dodge, Teddy switched to its magical bow, firing glowing arrows to cut through the vines. You've got size, I'll give you that, Teddy called, dodging another attack. But I've got, brains and buttons. The treant charged, forcing Teddy to summon a giant magical hammer. With a mighty swing, Teddy struck the treant's legs, causing it to stumble. Take that, Twiggy! Teddy grinned, but the victory was short-lived. The treant regenerated, its vines lashing out even faster. Realizing brute force wasn't enough, Teddy paused to observe the Trent. Its chest had a glowing red rune, clearly its weak point. All right, big guy, Teddy said, switching to a set of magical daggers. Let's try something a little sharper. Teddy leapt onto a nearby tree for higher ground, throwing the daggers with precision. The glowing blades struck the rune, causing the Trent to roar in pain and stagger. The Trent's movement slowed, and Teddy seized the moment, summoning a magical spear. With a determined leap, Teddy drove the spear into the rune, releasing a burst of green light. The corruption faded, and the treant collapsed into harmless roots. Phew, Teddy said, dusting itself off. I should charge for this kind of hero work. As the Trents remained scattered, the golden tree in the center of the clearing began to glow brighter. A single shimmering fruit descended gently from its branches, pulsing with warm light. Teddy approached cautiously, reaching out to hold the fruit. The moment it touched the light fruit, a wave of energy surged through its body. The fruit's power flowed into Teddy, making its button eyes glow brighter. Okay, that felt intense, Teddy muttered. One fruit down, two to go. The glowing map reappeared in Teddy's paw, pointing toward the next location. The forest around began to shift, as if clearing a path for Teddy. As Teddy prepared to leave, a dark shadow loomed overhead. From the treetops descended a figure cloaked in black smoke, one of the fallen ones. Well, well, the figure sneered. A little stuffed bear thinks it can meddle in our plans? How quaint. Teddy raised its magical bow, aiming confidently. Quaint or not, I've got one fruit. Want to see what else I can do? The figure laughed, its voice echoing unnaturally. Enjoy your small victory, bear. The next fruit won't be so easy. With that, the shadow disappeared, leaving Teddy alone in the clearing. Adjusting its scarf, Teddy smirked. Bring it on. With the first light fruit secured and a new challenge looming, Teddy set off toward the next part of its adventure. Episode 3, The Second Light Fruit. Teddy's map glowed faintly as it guided the plush adventurer through a dense section of the enchanted forest. The air grew damp, and the ground squished under Teddy's feet. Great, just what I needed, Teddy muttered, adjusting its red scarf. Mud, mist, and, oh, wonderful, a creepy lake. Ahead lay a vast, murky lake. Its surface was eerily still, reflecting the darkened forest and the pale moonlight above. Strange ripples occasionally broke the surface, as though something moved just beneath. The map pulsed brighter, directing Teddy toward the center of the lake. Of course it's in the middle. Why would it ever be easy? Teddy sighed. Summoning a magical shield, it cautiously stepped onto a series of stones that jutted out into the water. As Teddy reached the edge of the stones, the lake began to shimmer. A small, ghostly boat emerged from the mist, gliding silently toward Teddy. Well, that's not creepy at all, Teddy quipped. The map floated out of Teddy's paw, merging with the boat, causing it to glow faintly. Taking a deep breath, Teddy climbed aboard. The boat moved on its own, carrying Teddy across the dark water. The ripples around the boat grew more frequent, and shadows darted beneath the surface. Please tell me this is just friendly fish down there, Teddy murmured, gripping its magical bow tightly. Halfway across the lake, the boat stopped abruptly. The water churned violently, and a massive head rose from the depths, a corrupted serpent with glowing red eyes and black cracked scales. Figures, Teddy groaned, summoning a magical spear. Big snake, tiny bear. This is totally fair. The serpent lunged at the boat, its jaws snapping. Teddy rolled to the side, the boat rocking dangerously. It threw the magical spear, striking the serpent's side, but the beast barely flinched. All right, new plan. Teddy quickly conjured a magical bow and fired a series of glowing arrows at the serpent's head, forcing it to retreat momentarily. The serpent dove underwater, and the lake grew eerily quiet. Yeah, I don't like this, Teddy muttered, scanning the surface. Suddenly, the serpent erupted from beneath, knocking Teddy off the boat. Teddy plunged into the cold, murky water. The serpent coiled around, its glowing eyes illuminating the dark depths. Summoning a magical shield, Teddy blocked the serpent's tail swipe, then conjured a set of magical daggers. Underwater, the daggers moved like guided missiles, striking the serpent's glowing red runes. The serpent roared in pain, its coils loosening. Take that, sushi roll, Teddy shouted, bubbles escaping from its mouth. With a final push, Teddy summoned a hammer and struck the serpent's chest, shattering the largest rune. The serpent let out a final roar before collapsing into harmless bubbles, its corrupted energy dispersing. The lake stilled, and the ghostly boat reappeared, glowing brighter than before. Teddy climbed aboard, drenched but victorious. The boat moved toward a small island in the lake's center, where a glowing tree stood, its branches holding the second light fruit. Teddy approached the fruit, which pulsed with a silvery blue light. 2 down, 1 to go, Teddy said, plucking the fruit. The energy flowed through its body, making its button eyes glow even brighter. The map reappeared, pointing toward the next location, a volcanic mountain in the distance. As Teddy prepared to leave, the sky above darkened, and a chilling wind swept across the lake. A figure cloaked in smoke appeared on the shore, the same fallen one from before. You're more persistent than I expected, the fallen one sneered. But this game will end soon, little bear. Teddy raised its magical bow, aiming at the figure. I'm not scared of you, Shadow Guy. Bring it on. The fallen one smirked before disappearing into the mist. Adjusting its scarf, Teddy climbed back into the boat. 1 more fruit, then we settle this. The boat carried Teddy back to the forest's edge, where the path to the volcanic mountain awaited. Episode 4, The Final Light Fruit. The air grew hotter as Teddy climbed the rocky trail toward the volcanic mountain, the map glowing faintly in its paw. Ash floated through the air, and the ground rumbled with distant tremors. In the distance, molten lava cascaded down the mountainside, casting an eerie red glow. Why is the last fruit always in the most dangerous place? Teddy muttered, adjusting its red scarf. The map pulsed brighter, pointing toward the mountain's fiery summit. Ahead, the path narrowed into a precarious bridge of stones spanning a river of bubbling lava. Just don't look down, Teddy told itself, stepping onto the bridge. Midway across the bridge, the lava bubbled violently, and 2 molten creatures emerged. Lava beasts with glowing red cores. They roared, blocking Teddy's path. "Oh, great!" Teddy groaned. "Hot-headed troublemakers." Summoning a magical bow, Teddy fired glowing arrows at the beasts. The arrows hit their molten bodies but melted before reaching their cores. Not working. Time for Plan B. Teddy switched to a magical shield, deflecting a lava beast's fiery swipe. It then conjured a magical spear, leaping over the beast and striking its core. The creature shattered into harmless embers. The second beast lunged, and Teddy rolled aside, summoning a hammer. With a powerful swing, it sent the beast tumbling into the lava below. Dusting off its paws, Teddy grinned. "I'm on fire today, literally." The bridge began to collapse behind Teddy, the lava rising with every step. "Oh no, no, no!" Teddy yelled, sprinting toward the summit. Rocks crumbled underfoot as the heat intensified. Reaching solid ground, Teddy collapsed onto a rocky ledge, panting. "I'm too plush for this kind of cardio." The map glowed brighter, pointing toward a hidden cavern at the mountain's peak. Teddy stood, adjusted its scarf, and trudged onward. Inside the cavern, the air shimmered with intense heat. At its center stood a pedestal holding the third light fruit, glowing a fiery orange. Guarding it was a towering fire elemental, its body made of swirling flames and molten rock. Teddy summoned its magical shield as the elemental unleashed a wave of fire. "Okay, big guy, let's cool you down." Teddy conjured a magical crossbow, firing bolts of energy at the elemental. The bolts struck its molten chest, but the flames absorbed the impact. The elemental retaliated, slamming its fiery fist into the ground, creating a shockwave that knocked Teddy back. Thinking quickly, Teddy switched to magical daggers, aiming for the glowing runes on the elemental's arms. The blade struck true, weakening its movements. The elemental roared, its flames growing wilder. "Time for the finishing move," Teddy said, summoning a magical hammer. With a mighty leap, Teddy struck the elemental's core, shattering it into sparks. The flames extinguished, leaving only a faint glow. The cavern cooled, and the pedestal began to lower. Teddy approached the third light fruit, its fiery glow reflecting in its button eyes. "3 fruits, 1 fluffy hero," Teddy said, plucking the fruit. The moment it touched the fruit, a surge of fiery energy coursed through Teddy's body. Its button eyes glowed brighter, and its scarf fluttered in an unseen breeze. The 3 fruits' combined energy began to awaken a new strength within Teddy. The map reappeared, this time pointing back toward the eternal tree. As Teddy left the cavern, the Fallen One appeared, standing on a rocky outcrop overlooking the mountain. "You're more persistent than I expected, Bear," the shadowy figure sneered. "But the eternal tree's power will not stop us." Teddy summoned its magical bow, aiming at the figure. "You're all talk and no action, Shadow Guy. Care to prove me wrong?" The Fallen One laughed, the sound echoing through the fiery landscape. "Enjoy your small victories while you can. The real fight begins now." With that, the figure vanished, leaving Teddy alone on the mountain. Adjusting its scarf, Teddy gazed down at the path ahead, determination in its glowing eyes. It's time to finish this. Episode 5, The Last Stand. With all 3 light fruits glowing brightly in its bag, Teddy emerged from the volcanic mountain and followed the glowing map back to the heart of the magical world. The forest seemed to breathe a little easier, as if life was slowly returning. At the center stood the eternal tree. Now barely alive, its branches drooped, and its faint glow flickered like a dying flame. Cracks ran along its trunk, and the air around it shimmered with instability. "Hang on, big guy," Teddy said, adjusting its red scarf and clutching the bag of light fruits. "I've got what you need." Suddenly, the ground trembled, and dark clouds gathered overhead. A shadowy vortex opened near the tree's roots as the Fallen One appeared, cloaked in swirling smoke and malice. "Well, well, little bear," the Fallen One sneered, its voice echoing unnaturally. "You've been a persistent nuisance, but it ends here." The shadows around the Fallen One twisted and merged, growing into a massive, monstrous figure, a corrupted creature of smoke, darkness, and glowing red runes. Its form loomed over the eternal tree like a storm. Teddy summoned its magical bow, aiming steadily at the monster. "Oh, so you're big and scary now? That's fine. I'm fluffier and smarter." The monster roared, sending shock waves that cracked the ground. Teddy barely dodged, landing in a crouch. All right, time to get serious. The Fallen One unleashed waves of dark energy, corrupting everything in its path. Trees withered, and the earth blackened. Teddy sprinted through the chaos, summoning its magical shield to deflect blasts of energy. The monster summoned shadowy minions that crawled out of the cracks in the earth. Teddy summoned a magical hammer, smashing through them with powerful swings. You're not stopping me this time. Switching to a crossbow, Teddy targeted the glowing red runes on the Fallen One's body, firing bolts of green energy. Each strike weakened the monster, but it grew angrier, its form swirling with more darkness. Is that all you've got? Teddy taunted, panting but still determined. The monster unleashed a massive attack, a surge of shadows aiming to engulf Teddy completely. At the last moment, the three light fruits in Teddy's bag glowed intensely, surrounding it with a golden barrier. The energy surged into Teddy, and its button eyes shone brighter than ever before. The voice of the eternal tree echoed softly. Teddy, you carry my strength. Use it wisely. Teddy looked at its glowing paws and smiled confidently. Let's finish this. The light fruits floated into the air, spinning around Teddy as its weapons transformed. Teddy summoned a sword of pure light, its blade radiant with energy. With renewed strength, Teddy leapt toward the Fallen One, dodging attacks mid-air and striking the monster's core rune with precision. The monster staggered as its runes cracked and dark energy leaked from its form. Teddy landed gracefully, gripping its sword tightly. Game over, Shadow Guy, Teddy said, raising the glowing sword for one final blow. With a mighty leap, Teddy slashed through the core rune, releasing a brilliant burst of light. The Fallen One roared one last time before dissolving into shadows that scattered like smoke on the wind. The ground stilled, the sky cleared, and the eternal tree began to glow brightly once more. The three light fruits floated gently back to the eternal tree, settling onto its branches. Warm golden light spread across the forest, and the cracks in the tree's trunk healed. Life returned to the land, and flowers began to bloom. Teddy sat beneath the tree, catching its breath. Phew! Saving the world is hard work for a plush bear. The eternal tree's spirit appeared, glowing with gratitude. Thank you, Teddy. You have restored balance to our world. Teddy stood, dusting off its paws. No problem, just doing my job. Now, if you don't mind, I have a little girl to get back to. A portal opened at the base of the eternal tree, glowing softly. Teddy stepped through, and in an instant, it was back in Emma's room. The storm had passed and the room was quiet. Emma stirred in her sleep as Teddy climbed back onto her bed, settling into her arms. She hugged it tightly, whispering, "Good night, Teddy." Teddy's button eyes dimmed as it smiled to itself. Good night, Emma. Sometimes even the smallest heroes can save the world.